Nita Mataji, you're going to do welcoming service today?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I welcome all of you to this Bhakti Sangha conference call for the mid-morning section of Srimad Chaitanya Bhagavat, which will be given by His Grace Ramagiridhari Prabhu. Panchakalpatarupasya kripa sindhu pevacha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo. Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So before moving on to the session, I would like to know who are all present on the call today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Yashla Prabhupada, this is Preeti Vilasini Devidasi from Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you, Mataji, for your warm welcoming, and thank you, Yashomati Priya Mataji, for the very beautiful recitation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasini Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and giving us your association. Thank you so much, Yashomati Priya Mataji, for the beautiful recitation of Bhagavad Gita verses. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nita Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. This is Shivani from Ashwin, Virginia. Thank you, Yashomati Mataji, for the beautiful Bhagavad Gita recitation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji. Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call, and thank you for all your services, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashomati Priya Devidasi from Chicago, Illinois. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you, your services, Mataji, too.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam to everybody. I'm Archana Raga from Hyderabad. Thank you for your services, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Yashomati Priya Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call, and thank you so much for all your wonderful services to the group. And thank you so much again for a warm recitation of the Bhagavad Gita verses. And welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna, dear Archana Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call, and thank you so much for all your appreciation, Mataji. Welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Mataji. Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji. Danvat Pranam to you and all Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Vrinda from Atlanta.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gopika Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and giving us your association. Hare Krishna. Anybody else who would like to introduce themselves? Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Danvat Pranam to you. Srila Prabhupada, this is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Neetu Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and giving us your association. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I once again welcome all of you to this Bhakti Sangha conference call for the pronunciation of Srimad Chaitanya Bhagavat, which will be given by His Grace Ramagiridhari Prabhu. Before moving on to the session, I would like to read Prabhupada's quote for today. Prabhupada from Calcutta, September 23, 1974, has written, Radharani is the source of spiritual inspiration. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I once again welcome all of you to this call of Bhakti Sangha Japa, of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat session. And so today's class will be given by His Grace Ramagiridhari Prabhu, but I don't see Prabhuji on call. Prabhuji is not joined us, right? So if anyone wants to introduce themselves, please go ahead. You can go ahead with the introduction. Hare Krishna. Anyone wants to introduce themselves? Okay. So otherwise, we'll chant till Prabhuji comes. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today's Prabhupada's quote was Radharani is spiritual inspiration, right? So if anyone wants to say about that, we can discuss about this till Prabhupada joins. If anyone wishes to say anything on this. How Prabhupada is saying that Radharani is our spiritual inspiration. Anyone wants to open up? So silent. It's like I'm talking to myself. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I just heard, so I don't know if this is relevant to what you're saying, but I just heard this very recently in some lecture. They say for philosophical matters, no, for philosophical guidelines or for philosophical knowledge, someone looks to Brahma, Brahma looks to Shiva, Shiva looks to Vishnu, Vishnu looks to Lakshmi, Lakshmi looks to Krishna. They all seek from the other person, but Krishna looks to Radharani for this. This I heard this yesterday or something. So I just
Wow, that's so nice, Mataji. I haven't heard. Very nice, Mataji. So, can you come again with that? First, what is this to Brahma?
yeah, Brahma looks up to Shiva for that. Shiva looks up to Vishnu or Narayana. He looks up to goddess Lakshmi. Goddess Lakshmi looks up to Krishna to get that knowledge. But Krishna looks to Radharani to get that. So when I was listening to that Mataji, it was from an ISKCON lecture. So I thought they will stop with Krishna. This person, even before Brahma, there were 2-3 people. I just don't remember. But I thought they will stop with Krishna, trying to say that Krishna is the ultimate. But then Krishna himself looks to Radharani for that. That was a nice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for sharing. So, what you understood from this, Mataji?
Like, even for the Supreme Lord, like if he himself looks to Radharani, like part of him or as his prime devotee or the gopi, the topmost gopi, then what is the position of his topmost devotee who seems to be even above the Lord? That's what I understood. Even the Lord himself thinks she is above him or he should look up to her for some things.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Yes, of course, we are Gaudiya Vaishnavas in that case that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has said. So we are the worshippers of Sri Krishna, Sri Radharani, who bestows. Always we are all very devoted, means like we are very close to our mother, right? So materially, I want to say same way everyone in devotional life is close to Srimati Radharani, who gives bestows in the mercy to take us to Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for sharing that. I hope Prabhuji has joined now.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All the glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for coming on the call and giving us your valuable time and association. And today's topic will be from Sri Caitanya Bhagavata, Antya Kanda, chapter 3, verses from 1 to 6. Over to you, Prabhuji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. So we are going to discuss from third chapter of Antya Leela. So from verse 1 to 6 of Chaitanya Bhagavata. The chapter title Mahaprabhu's Deliverance of Sarvabhauma, Exhibition of his six-armed form, and Journey to Bengal. Jai Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Gunadhama, Jai Jai Nityananda Swarupera Prana. All glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, the reservoir of all transcendental qualities. All glories to the life and soul of Nityananda Swarupa. Jaya Jaya Vaikuntha Nayaka Kripa Sindhu, Jaya Jaya Nyasi Chudamani Dina Bandhu. All glories to the Lord of Vaikuntha, who is an ocean of mercy. All glories to the crest jewel of all sannyasis and a friend of the poor. Shesha Kanda Kata Bhai Suna Eka Chite Shri Gauranga Chandra Vihari Laye Namate. Oh brothers, hear with attention the topics of the Antya Kanda, wherein Sri Gaurachandra's pastimes are described. Amritera Amrita Sri Gaurangera Kata Brahma Shiva Ye Amrita Vanchena Sarvatha. The topics of Sri Gauranga are the essence of all nectar. Such nectar is always described by personalities like Brahma and Shiva. Atayeva Shri Chaitanya Katara Shravane Sabara Santosha Haya Dushta Dhanavine. Therefore, simply by hearing topics of Sri Chaitanya, everyone except the miscreant becomes pleased. Suna Shesha Kandakata Chaitanya Rahasyam Ihara Shravane Krishna Paiva Avasyam. Here the confidential topics of Lord Chaitanya described in the Antya Kanda, for by hearing these topics, one will certainly attain Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakayam Chakshurun Militam Yenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnu Padayam Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedantam Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are starting this new chapter of Antya Leela, Antya Kanda. Every time when a new chapter is started, it is always started with the glorification of Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Prabhu Nityananda and their transcendental glories. Whilst explaining about the symptoms of a self-realized soul, There are many symptoms of a self-realized soul that are described in many, many places. In Bhagavad Gita, when describing the symptoms of the self-realized soul, in one place in 5th chapter, Krishna is mentioning that the self-realized soul is Atma Rama. He is so pleased, he is so much deriving pleasure within, he is deriving unlimited happiness within, and because of that unlimited happiness, he is not able to control himself, and he celebrates that happiness even if he is alone. So every time when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami or Vrindavan Das Thakura or even um, um, all the acharyas, Sukadeva Goswami, whenever they are glorifying about the Supreme Lord, they exhibit some wonderful happiness. So in our endeavor to practice Krishna consciousness, there is one thing that we need to constantly verify. In fact, I see these sets of verses, apart from mentioning the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, it is also giving us some indication to verify, are we progressing in Krishna consciousness. So we are going to discuss this 6 shlokas. Through these 6 shlokas, we are going to churn some nectar, and through this nectar, let us learn some lesson for ourselves. We are going to learn 3 sets of lessons which will help us in diving deeper and stronger in Krishna consciousness. The first reflection is about the verse 3.5 in the 3rd chapter. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes the commentary, the topics of Sri Chaitanya please everyone except unfortunate, wicked people, because by hearing topics of Sri Chaitanya, living beings attain knowledge of Krishna, service to Krishna, and love for Krishna. And he is directing us to read few verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. The idea is the subject matter of the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Lord, especially that of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as mentioned in the 6th shloka, they are highly confidential, but if somebody has got access to those confidential subject matter, then they are considered as fortunate souls and those who do not have access to those confidential topics, they're all called miscreants. The access to the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Lord, activities of the Supreme Lord, is not available in general for others to get access to, even though they are openly available. Raja Guhyam. The Raja Guhyam aspect of it is because of our conditioning. Because we are so much engrossed with our sense gratification, our senses being dragged towards sense objects, even the most obvious things become unclear to us. The verse 10th canto, first chapter, shloka number 14, Suta Goswami explains, saying that this discourse on topics concerning Krishna are the remedy for all sufferings. All sufferings. Krishna Charitam Kali Kalmasha Jnanam. So, I just want to spend a few minutes on what happens to us, conditioned souls. Us is a very larger, wider statement, not referring to all the wonderful Vaishnavas in this forum. Us referring to all the suffering souls. In spite of Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna's transcendental pastimes are available, we are not able to enjoy the pleasure that is expected of us. So Srila Prabhupada explains that licking the honey bottle from outside will not give us the taste. So as a part of first reflection, I want to mention two sets of things. One is the sense objects towards which the senses are attracted are causing so much of disturbances. Meaning, if the senses are not properly controlled and regulated, it causes so much of disturbances that it eventually traps the Jivatma into the world of illusion. So the first set of reflection with respect to the first reflection is about the 5 stages of involvement between sense and sense objects. And we will also discuss along with this, what is the exit point? Let me first explain the 5 stages of involvement between the senses and sense objects. Because in the preface to Nectar of Instruction, Srila Prabhupada explains, in all spiritual affairs, one's first duty is to control one's mind and senses. And everything pertaining to spiritual knowledge will be automatically revealed after that. I'm just paraphrasing. So long as this mind and senses are not properly handled, we are not enjoying. We are not going to enjoy. Even though we have the most tasty honey bottle in our hand, because we have not opened the lid. The key for opening the lid, the process for opening the lid is still not sorted out. The first stage, when the senses and sense objects are attracted, it is the stage of observation. The senses get attracted to sense objects, it observes. It tries to gather the data and dwell on them for some time. And as it observes, depends upon the depth of our conditioning, the observation further develops to the second stage called stage of attraction. We get attracted to the sense object. And this attraction will develop the intensity and draw us towards the sense object. And the further of the attraction, the stage goes towards the stage of possession, acquiring them, getting them. And when we are with the sense objects, when they are under our possession, we get to the stage of obsession, addiction. And then finally we get to the stage of demand. Meaning we get into the stage of controlling, being controlled by the sense objects and do not have things under our custody. Krishna is explaining to Arjuna such interaction between sense and sense object will finally take us to the stage of distressful. From 5th chapter, shloka number 21, 22 to all the way till 29, barring 27, 28, Krishna is giving some very interesting instruction. He's telling two things. What will give us distress and what will give us pleasure. So today, Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying, what will give us pleasure? And we are discussing why we are not getting this pleasure, whoever is not getting. And the part is, there's 5 stages of involvement between senses and sense objects. Now the second aspect of first reflection is, okay, sir, we are this human form. We have our senses. Some of us are grihasthas. So some of us have a right royal access to the sense objects. Unlike brahmachari and vanaprastha and sannyasi, where they are supposed to have an austerity of restricting their senses to have access to certain sense objects. If I were a brahmachari, then by design, by rule, I can be barred from accessing to certain sense objects. If I am a sannyasi, some sense objects or some pleasure, are not allowed. But as a grihastha, we have access to certain things. Money, power, enjoyment, comfort, luxury, sexuality. So there is a natural question that happens is that what am I supposed to do? And the nature of this material world is, it is definitely illusion. It's alluring. So when I observe, and when I'm attracted, that's where we get to differentiate between an intelligent practitioner versus an illusory idiot, or somebody who is stupid, trapped in the illusion. He let the attraction go to its possession. But when somebody is intelligent practitioner, at the stage of attraction, he does something, which is what my second part of the first reflection. Because some of us have been practicing Krishna consciousness for quite a long time. By all probabilities, if I had done my devotion correctly, by now, for me at least, it is now the 36th year. 1989, I took up Krishna consciousness. So, in these many years, what progress I should have made, have I made? Yogyata vichare kichu nahi bhai. There's no qualification yet. Strongly rooted in sense gratification. But one still, hope is not yet giving up the fight against my senses and mind, because of so many of our beloved well-wishers, gurus and Vaishnavas are standing behind me, giving me hopes and cheering up for me, saying that you can still do it. Fight against senses and sense gratification. So where do you show that fight? At the stage of attraction. If I am an intelligent practitioner, I will ask a question. Will this attraction, will this involvement in the sense object needed for my existence, needed for my conditional or constitutional responsibility? So such a question can be asked. Rishabhadev, in the Rishabhadev's instruction of chapter 5th canto of Bhagavatam, I think it's Rishabhadev. In one place, it is very nicely mentioned how by being drawn towards worldly pleasures, drawn towards beautiful sound vibration of our beloved family members, children, wife, husband, we forget about our transcendental existence. So the question is this attraction needed? If not, I mean, that's a if question at that stage. If we ask, if the answer is no, this is not needed, then can we use a strategy which acharyas have many times taught us, called delay tactics? Saying that if you tell your mind or senses, no, you are not going to get the attraction, the mind will say, I am sorry, I am not going to listen to you, I am going to fight with you. But if you say, wait, I'll give you tomorrow, I'll give you a day after tomorrow, I'll give you 1 week later. I'm not sure those who are from psychology background would agree with me. When the child is crying too much, asking for a particular sense object or a particular thing, and if you can't give that to the child, one of the tactics is give something to the child as a replacement, may not necessarily be the object the child is asking, but something to distract. may not be the same, but something as attractive or something to be distracting. I'm not an expert in that, but at least that's what I've heard. So to distract from the attraction, we need to use delay tactics and parallelly extend ourselves, take shelter of this Hari Katha, which will cure, which is the remedy. Because several pastimes we have heard in Bhagavatam and other places that the attraction towards materialistic things cannot be curbed by just like that. We have to give a delay tactics, wait for some time. I will come and attend to it and hear Krishna Katha, and automatically Hridayantastohi abhadrani vidunotim suhrutsatam. The reason I'm explaining this is I am sure you all will have your own, experiences. But in my preaching experiences, in my interaction with congregation, my interaction with youths and children, the current and the future generations are blessed with so many wonderful resources, tools, utilities, luxury, but they are exposed to something which we have not been exposed in our earlier days. Sense objects and sense gratificatory things are so easily available that it is very, very difficult unless we are able to work against Kali, against the evil effects of Maya by spreading this Krishna Katha, implementing this Krishna consciousness in our lives in a scientific, enthusiastic, as well as a systematic manner which is relevant and relatable for the current audience, current generation. So to summarize my first reflection, we are not getting pleased. We are not getting enthusiastic. As Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj writes, that the purpose of hearing Krishna Katha is to attain knowledge of Krishna, service to Krishna, and love for Krishna. So at the end of the day, if we are not gaining them, it will be International Society for Dash Consciousness. The dash has to be Krishna. But is it Krishna for us today? Or is it, that is, look alike? Something like Krishna consciousness, but it is not. My counseling sessions with Grahasthas, newly married, Vaishnava devotee families, some stories are really scary. We need to ensure that we bring in life in our Krishna consciousness by learning to love Krishna, serve Krishna by really knowing about Krishna. We have effectively learned to use Krishna. We are effectively learning to talk about Krishna as a knowledge, as an information, for the sake of reels. How those reels are for real in our life? It's a question mark. So I want to conclude my first reflection by saying we need to rise above senses and sense objects and learn to dovetail them for glorifying Krishna by very actively, enthusiastically participating in Krishna consciousness activities. Shreyadacharanam sada etavad janma sabalyam Dehinam iha dehishu. Pranair arthair diya vacha shreyad acharanam sada. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is quoting this verse. This verse is spoken by Krishna to gopis. He's saying, Pranair, Arthair, Diya, Vacha. Use them for what? For Shreyas, not just prayers. Prayers means that which is immediately beneficial. Shreyas means those activities that are ultimately beneficial. So the practice for us to switch from temporary pleasure to divine Krishna consciousness activities is delayed practice. Tell your mind, tell your senses, tell your surroundings which are disturbing in Krishna consciousness that wait, I will attend you. Let me finish this. Wait, let me revisit on this. I will not give you this tomorrow. I will give you after 1 week, after 10 days. And in the meanwhile, don't stop doing anything. You please go and actively engage ourselves in hearing Krishna Katha. So this Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya is a wonderful tool to counteract this attraction to this material world, and it will help to challenge our mind by this delayed practice. And this Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya will slowly make us forget about our sense gratificatory pleasure, and we'll one day, we ourselves will be surprised that we are attracted towards Krishna. Prasuti, wife of Daksha, she is telling to Lord Vishnu, who appeared in the fire sacrifice. She is telling that, my dear Lord, your appearance in this fire sacrifice has made a complete transformation to this place. It has brought life to this place. And Srila Prabhupada writes that like some low-class people decorate the dead body and give them some beautiful dress before cremation or before burying them. But there is no value to that decoration because the body is dead. So Prasuti is saying that without glorifying Krishna, without Krishna being present in our thoughts, action, deeds, it is a lifelessness. So Prasuti is saying that now that you have come, this place is transformed. Even the so-called scholars, Panditas, who are just simply performing fire sacrifices for Dakshina, will also become Vaishnavas. That's the last line of the purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, 4th canto, 7th chapter, text number 36. Srila Prabhupada writes, Prasuti is recommending, requesting Krishna, Vishnu, to bestow his special benediction upon the so-called scholars, Panditas, so that they rise above religiosity. They rise above the so-called formality. They rise above so-called materialistic propensity and eventually become Vaishnavas. So that brings me to the second reflection, which is about that in our extended association in Krishna consciousness, we should yearn for service opportunities. If we are sincere students of Srimad Bhagavatam, if we are intelligent practitioners of the instructions of Srimad Bhagavatam, we should ask one question. Do I have service towards my Guru that I am empowered with? Service towards the mission that I am empowered with. Because at this stage of our practicing, we will not be able to comprehend those transcendental pastimes, those transcendental discussions, which are esoteric, which are beyond material realm. So we can't enjoy the sense gratification, neither we can participate in the transcendental realm of Krishna consciousness, discussions. There should be something in between which will help us to eventually get there. And that is our pleading, desiring, yearning for service towards Guru and Gauranga, and only those who are performing sincere services, selfless services, consistent services will get to see what is described in this section about deriving pleasure. So the chabi, the key for this honey bottle, the tastier honey which is there, the key lies in the services that we will be empowered with. And if I take that service, if I sincerely take up that service, then we will be able to definitely enjoy Krishna consciousness. Chanting helps us in shedding certain quotients. But that preparation, chanting is like breathing. You survive. But we cannot just survive. We have to thrive. We have to be happy. We have to be functional. So that is why the seva, along with sadhana, will give us that pleasure. So my second reflection is that in the process of we hearing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's glories, Sri Krishna's glories, we should not limit ourselves with intellectual treatise of knowing information. I was speaking in our Bhakti Shastri forum that by the invent of various digital tools, Chat GPT, Gemini, Perplexity, etc., the challenges for preachers as well as challenges for sincere practitioners have increased one more step. So nowadays, when I am giving assignment to my Bhakti Shastri students, I have to give an additional instruction, which is saying, please don't refer Chat GPT. Because when I give an open book test, if you go and ask Chat GPT, it gives you a fantastic answer. Hopefully. Not always. But that's not what is an agenda of an open book test. Some of our congregation devotees, were sharing some output of those Chat GPTs. It is definitely intriguing. So today morning only I sent the instructions to our students, and the devotee is saying that beware. Utility is the principle, but not a substitute for our endeavor in learning Krishna consciousness. The point I am trying to drive home is, as a second reflection, it is imperative that let us learn to serve whilst we are hearing. If we serve as we hear, then whatever you heard, you'll understand the purport. If you don't serve, but only just interested in intellectual sense gratification, Punya Shravana Kirtana is different. Punya Shravana Kirtana means when I hear, I am immediately engrossed and telling, my dear Gurudev, you enlighten me with something. How can I serve you? That is Punya Shravana Kirtana. Punya Shravana Kirtana means I am sincerely, attentively hearing so that I can become a useful soul in the service of Guru. Punya Shravana Kirtana means relinquishing, giving up all sorts of my attachments and committed to glorify the Supreme Lord. That is why I used to always tell, knowledge alone without the blessings, the knowledge not received through a bona fide process, even though it is the right knowledge. Knowledge alone without the blessings, not received through the bona fide process, and not in a systematic manner, will still causes disturbance. So it is imperative that we need to receive knowledge with blessings through a bona fide process. What is a bona fide process? Bhagavad Gita 4.34 writes, 7-step process, Prabhupada says. And one of the steps in those 7 steps are performing menial services to your Guru to his satisfaction. 4.34 Bhagavad Gita, famous verse. So hence my second reflection is to say that we can derive that pleasure that is described about the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu and all the great acharyas is when we participate in service. Prakashananda Saraswati, how did the transformation happen? Vyasadev, how did the transformation happen that he wrote Srimad Bhagavatam? Parikshit Maharaj, how did the transformation happen? Only when they engaged in Punya Shravana Kirtana. When Vyasadeva finished compiling all the Vedas, Vedanta Sutras, Itihasas, Puranas, left, right, center, Narada Muni says, what is the use? Can he glorify Srimad Bhagavatam? How did Vyasadeva glorify Srimad Bhagavatam? The entire Srimad Bhagavatam, he chose at least the version of Srimad Bhagavatam that we have in this material world, those 18,000 verses. It is none other than Vyasadev's Guru Puja offering to Narada Muni. He has chosen every canto. Pick one canto where Narada Muni is not glorified. He has picked up all those episodes where Narada Muni is glorified. He was showing his indebtedness. Everywhere he glorified Narada Muni. Narada Muni. Everywhere he brings in Narada Muni's story. I mean, I'm sure There are more details to this, but it's so wonderful. So hence, let's desire, deserve, and consistently perform devotional service along with hearing Krishna Katha. In ISKCON, we have plenty of wonderful scholars who are helping us in understanding the science of Krishna consciousness. We need to take their help. Those scholars are like brigadiers, like captain, some sort of a champion of an army troop. But the army under them should rise up and try to win more and more souls in our own community and try to win ourselves. Otherwise, what is the value of those knowledge you received from them? A soldier is that person whose one pointed agenda is to fulfill the mission that he has been given. And our mission is to win more and more souls to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. That brings in the third reflection. So when I am learning to delay practice and hear Krishna Katha and try to overcome the 5 stages of my getting trapped, when I'm somehow able to enjoy the Krishna Katha that I heard whilst I am performing services, that is something that we are asked to do, and that is something that will happen to us. So, as a part of third reflection, I would like to quote 2 shlokas from 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. One is 5.25, where Krishna is telling 5.24 and 25, where Krishna is telling some very interesting points to Arjuna. In 5.24, Krishna is telling, Anta Sukaha, happy from within, Antaha Aramaha, actively enjoying within, Anta Jyotihi, aiming within. One whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward. We are still not talking about pure devotional service in this context. But because we are practitioners, the encouragement here is when we are studying, when we are serving, our focus is internalizing. How much I am internalizing, how much I am deriving happiness within, how much I am trying to go inward. And in verse number 25, by doing so, he is asking us to give up some things which are freedom from sins, free from dualities and doubts, and mind being engaged within, working for everyone's welfare. We will achieve that pleasure that is spoken about here. The idea is that in our journey to Krishna consciousness, somewhere we all have to take some training to keep on cross-checking within ourselves. And that is not possible alone. And that is possible only when we have some able, kind, as well as somebody who is giving us relevant and relatable company. So freedom from sins refers to following four regulative principles. Free from dualities that arise from doubts by focusing on Guru Sadhu Shastra and Srila Prabhupada's purports. Minds engaged within self-introspection as I am serving. Always busy working for the welfare of all living beings. Harinama Sankirtana, Paraupakar. This is what is our initiation vows. When Srila Prabhupada introduced Krishna consciousness, he did not complicate it with so many things. He just gave this simple formula. So hence, as a third reflection, I want to register here by saying that in our journey to Krishna consciousness, we need to watch out that is my reading, hearing, associating, and serving helps me to go within and eventually free myself from sins and dualities arise from doubts. Then only I will be able to become a proper missionary preaching the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavata, and Chaitanya Leela, they are such a wonderful offerings from our acharyas. Let us develop necessary qualities to relish these offerings correctly. I will conclude by giving a funny example. Every culture have different types of cuisine. But most importantly, along with knowing those cuisines, we should know how to consume them, when to consume them, in what sequence to consume them. Otherwise, having sambar for lasagna and yogurt for pasta or some combination like that uh, will only give a rasa bas. So we may be trying to beat around the bush, but not getting the real taste because somewhere or other we are anchored. So these wonderful transcendental glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are presented in this Chaitanya Bhagavata and Chaitanya Charitamrita are supposed to be enjoyed when we go through such a process of freeing ourselves from sense objects by delayed practice and relation Krishna Katha. And the relation of Krishna Katha can engage us in active, consistent, enthusiastic service, wherein we will be able to appreciate what we heard, to eventually emulate, to eventually have a symptom of going within and free ourselves from sins and doubts so that we can be part of this Harinama Sankirtana. Thank you all so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. I'll take up any questions, comments, reflections, and thoughts. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. What a wonderful class. You started with about sense gratification, how it has to be given to the higher purpose. And then, so very nice reflections, Prabhu. Each time you come, I really wonder how you take up this reflections. How do you prepare for these classes through reflections? You give so many insights to the verses which we have for the day. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And dear devotees, any questions or realizations, please go ahead. Yeah, we have one question in the chat box. Prabhu. What is this?
That was during
Okay,
discussion,
fine,
I
okay.
think, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So Janva Mataji is just asking what is his main key points. Okay, it's fine. Maybe. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Okay. Oops, one moment. It's in my video. Okay. It's turning on. Okay. Hare Krishna Prabhu. I
Hare
offer my
Krishna.
obeisances to you. It's nice to see you again. And I'm very, very grateful for you today, having your association online. There's a lot of things that you said, but one of the things that had created an imprint in my mind is consuming things in sequence. And I can relate to that because similarly in our physical digestion of matter, of things, sometimes it's better for our digestive system to eat things in sequence as opposed to like mix, right? And so similarly in an esoteric and philosophical way, are you advising or suggesting that we consume, say, philosophy wise in sequence, right? Yes or no on that one. But if it doesn't happen that way, if things are being presented on our path where we're being, we're being engaged with Srimad Bhagavatam, and then this particular class is actually quite advanced. What of it? What to do of it? Is it not advisable to not hear things? I know that it's like, okay, it's supposed to be Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and then CC. But if it doesn't happen that way, is it really so bad and not good for the Bhakti practitioner? Could you elaborate a little bit more, Prabhu?
Very nice question and very important one. It was not me who said that. It's actually Srila Prabhupada saying that to have a systematic study. So there are two aspects that I want to say. Number one is what I study for my abhyas, for my following. Second is because I am supposed to be part of a sangha, part of an ecosystem to sustain my Krishna consciousness. And that sangha being a heterogeneous sangha, I get to hear some glories, some esoteric, some deeper pastimes, which I may not be able to assimilate today. I take them as on the face value and I don't process them. Whatever purification that it does upon us, it is there. Suppose, for example, today you hear that we should be so detached that we should utilize our 24 hours for glorifying Krishna. If everybody go home and stop talking to your own spouses, spending your time with your own children, not looking after them, this is not advisable to do act like that. Is
Right.
that instruction wrong? That instruction is not wrong. But that instruction, it is up to us, the maturity that we need to build in, when to apply, how much to apply, how long I can apply. They are all supposed to be learned in a company. So the idea is that, for example, I am studying in a third grade in a school. I will definitely be told something called PhD there, engineering there, medicine there, doctor there. So many studies are there, and I may even come in contact with some such people. But I cannot jump to that, studies or to that conversation prematurely. Then I will not be able to process those information. So hence, the general recommendation is there is something called as my personal reading for my personal growth path, and the Bhagavatam classes, the Chaitanya Charitamrita classes, whatever you hear them attentively, and you pick those instructions that you can apply tomorrow, today, with the help of your friends and near and dear ones, and those that you can't apply just because somebody else is applying, just because it is being emphatically told by the speaker. uh, you don't need to apply. You just keep it them. They are not wrong. They need to keep it them. That is why it's called Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. So you have to process them. How will you process them? You don't even know certain other basics. You meaning not you, but anybody doesn't even know the basics. We have not even covered some grounds. So it will be too childish to jump over there. We are blessed to study Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavata. While we are studying, suppose for example, these particular 6 shlokas, if instead of Ramagiridhari Das, if some wonderful self-realized soul is giving the same class, these 6 shlokas will be explained differently according to their elevation and transcendental position that they have. So there are different signs associated in giving a class. Who is giving class? To whom he is giving class? Who are all the target audience? Focus on various scenarios. That is why classes are sources of inspiration as well as our preparation for the future, and you have to take only those lessons which you can apply. Remaining, you make sure that you keep it them, and with the help of wonderful devotees, you queue them up and apply them. Otherwise, we will definitely create a confusion in our own learnings. And because we are hearing from varieties of devotees, we will have varieties of thought process, and we will be conveniently jumping between guns, between places, and blame somebody else for our stupidity. Does it make sense?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Okay, that's also another one, like a practical advice. Because in my case, I am attending many different classes, but uh how should I hear the ideal way, right? But I also know myself that I've always been the kind of person that I can't focus on one thing, and then if I just focus on one thing, I lose interest and then I get bored. And so ever since I was younger, and even out like a high school and college, it's almost like it's much better for me to have at least 2 or 3 that I'm studying. So if I find it challenging, then I'm more apt to try harder. I don't know if you understand what I'm, because
I
like I
understand.
hear advice from people, and maybe that's how they are, and that's how they're processing it based on their temperament. And then I'm trying to apply it to me because that's the right path that they're guiding me. But then I realized how I'm responding to it, and I kind of lost interest. I was like, okay, this is not working for me. So let me go back to my process where I felt like I've thrived. And so I'm I'm part of the Bhagavad Gita reading, and then this, and then this. Then I find myself, okay, I'm keeping the interest. But I like your advice that the things that I don't understand, okay, then let it be. Because I feel like, to me, it's important to plant seeds in the mind. And then when I finally get them, then it'll flourish. I don't know if that makes sense, Prabhu.
That makes sense. And a very important point you mentioned is that many a times it may be a trick of the mind to say that I am, I want to go ahead. I want to, acquire certain skills. I want to become a scholar. I want to do this. It's all different. Mind tries trick everywhere, even
Mm.
amongst sadhu sangha. So
Right.
hence it is imperative that our bhajana is our responsibility. You
Mm.
cannot superimpose all the other things on our bhajana. Please structure your bhajana, structure your sadhana, structure your learning in such a mechanism that your all the other informations should fuel them not disturb them. That's all.
Okay, Tika. That makes sense, Prabhu. Okay. I think it would be better too if I have separate notes for each of them. Yeah, I think that can work. Okay, as usual, Prabhu, thank you so much. You're so practical. I love your classes, and thank
Hare
you for
Krishna.
giving me your time and energy and your
Hare Krishna.
association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji. We have Prahlad and Prabhu. Please go ahead.
Dhanwad Pranam, Prabhuji. Dhanwad
Hare Krishna,
Pranam to
Prabhu.
all. Very nice class, Prabhuji. I had a little variant from what you were showing today, variant path like that. Because in my 40 years, I got initiated in 84. I have this constant struggle of how I can win over this real enemy of our Bhavan Krishna states that in second chapter, Kamesha, Krodesha, Sajoguna Samudbhava. So in my early years, when I read about Haridas Thakur, that how he was able to defeat his attraction for the other, the prostitute and all that, because he was so much committed to his chanting, right? And that's what I learned from there, that I must get committed to this schedule of mine about Krishna consciousness or whatever practices I'm doing, 16 rounds and other things, reading and Vadya and all that. So another thing I learned from that sloka was Dhyayato Vishayan Punsa. Bhavan Krishna says that, the enemy is weakest at the level of the senses, right? The mind, intelligence, self, they are above. But the weakest point is at the senses. So it starts with Dhyayato Vishayan. So as soon as I think of a woman, I think of a sex, or I think of any kind of, distraction, I stop there. I try to stop there and say, no, let me read something randomly. Just take book and read whatever slok comes like that, or start chanting. But your mind is kind of very, very jiddi, very obstinate. It just pulls you again. Manas asthiram chanchalam like that. So over the years, I've fallen so many times, But again and again, now it has started working in the sense that, as soon as I check on my mind to see Dhyayato Vishay and Punsa. As soon as it is going for some Vishay, I just kind of distract it, kick it out, and try to enjoy myself in some kind of. This has helped me. This is what I just wanted to imply
Wonderful,
here.
Prabhu.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
that's.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very nice realization. Yes, of course. And mind is really very difficult to control. So, very nice topic for today's session. Also, thank you so much, Ramagiridhari Prabhu, for very wonderfully explaining like how the mind has to get in control, but still struggling too much for that. So there are various attractions in this material world which pulls us away from Krishna. So I think I should work hard to get out of that. And yes, here we have one more hand raised from Sudhakar Prabhu. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. It is a wonderful class, sir. I have a small doubt, or actually, I would like to seek guidance. I will not say doubt. You mentioned about the service, so I'm not uh, able to have clear-cut idea about the service you mentioned. For example, for a sadhak like me, I'm not even able to do 16 rounds. I'm trying to do that one. Okay, to tell you honestly, and I'm in a not reachable to all other devotees, only through online wherever I try to reach and I try to associate. So, for a situation like me, like what is your uh, advice on the service you mentioned? Of course, I understand the service is also very important, but for situation like me, what are the kind of service where I can get associated with the Krishna conscious Prabhuji? If you can enlighten or give some tips or guidelines on that one.
Thank you so much for asking this question, Prabhu. We have discussed this topic multiple times in this forum in the past, but I will repeat what I said earlier. When you think of service, three questions you have to ask. Because services are something which for us to sustainably do, we need a senior under whom we do service. Because services, apart from the generic ones, services are given, not taken. Somebody gives you service. So, whom will you go and ask for service? You should have a senior Vaishnava to look up to, where you are not just hearing classes just for knowledge, but you are associating for cultivation. Prabhupada writes in the introduction to Nectar of Devotion, he says, consciousness alone cannot help us. One should be cultivating Krishna consciousness by, he's mentioning 2 points, doing something favorable to Krishna consciousness and removing something unfavorable in our lives against Krishna consciousness. So the point is that services, whenever the word services you get to hear, you need to know from whom I can get services or to whom I can report about the services. So do I even have a senior to look up to? Do I even have a association? Not just a friendly passerby association, but a committed, a mentor, a Vaishnava under whom I can serve. Number 2, do I have relationship with that Vaishnava in such a capacity that I or my growth is known to him or her, so that I can present my state of existence in Krishna consciousness of that person. So I have a senior where I have a personal relationship. Number 2, that senior relationship is not a formality, but a relationship where my state of consciousness, being, existence, whether I am alone, whether I am online, whether I am in a remote part of the world and country or anywhere in the world. So, my existence, my, activities are known to that person. And third is we ask, plead, demand, or what is a demand, not in a bad manner. We try to request to have an accountable, consistent service of any nature. This could be, Bhakti Sangha Japa group. There is some administrator whose job is to check out, sequence the people for the classes, who building a calendar. Somebody makes the poster. Somebody maintains the admin. Somebody does. Somewhere you are doing some activities for the pleasure of the Sankirtan mission. So it is important that the service and the service attitude towards the Sankirtan mission will make your learning very, very sweeter. There are devotees who are living in remotest part of the world, but they will still remain enthusiastic in their service. Somebody is doing writing service, somebody is doing proofreading service, somebody is doing technology service, somebody is doing calling service, somebody is doing, there are unlimited service. Rather than you thinking what service I should get, you go and submit yourself to your senior and say that, please give me some service. In fact, you are doing that every day when you are chanting 16 rounds. That's exactly what you are asking Krishna. My dear Krishna, my dear Srimati Radharani, my dear Balaram, please engage me in your service. Please engage me in your service. Please engage me in your service. Just imagine 1700 times you are asking the same thing. If you consciously ask even once, Krishna will provide you service. And that service is your identity, in the sense that is how my spiritual growth, that's your what do you call it, a very important rope that you can catch hold of to climb up. Japa, sadhana helps us to survive. Seva helps us to thrive. Because when you do service, we are all servants. Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nitya Das. How can I be a Das without service? So those 3 things are some things that we should, yearn for. Making sense, Prabhu?
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yeah, in chat, everyone is glorifying the class, Prabhu. Everyone says thanks for the excellent class. It was so wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And, dear devotees, a last call. If anyone has any questions or realizations, then go ahead now.
Sukha
Hare
Sagari
Krishna.
Mataji. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Danvat Pranams. Thanks for the insightful classes always. Can you please sing a bhajan if it's not too late?
It's not too late, and I read your message. If you are not going to say, I was going to say that I've been asked to sing. I will sing. So I will sing for sure.
So kind of you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so if there are no further questions, so let's switch to some singing. This is a song called Narada Muni Bhajaya Veena Radhika Ramana Name. This song has got some history where once Prabhupada was singing this song and he became very emotional. I love this song. It's a very nice song. It's not an easy tune. Generally, we sing on regular bhajans, but I've pasted the link for the song. As usual, I'll read the meaning of the song first before we sing it. When the great soul Narada Muni plays his veena, the holy name Radhika Raman descends and immediately appears amidst the kirtan of the Lord's devotees. Like a monsoon cloud, the holy name showers nectar in their ears. All the devotees, due to great ecstasy, repeatedly dance to their heart's content. All the people of the universe become maddened upon entering this intoxicating shower of nectar. Some people cry, some dance, and others become fully intoxicated within their minds. Lord Shiva, embracing Narada Muni, repeatedly makes loud screams of ecstatic joy. And Lord Brahma, dancing very ecstatically, says, all of you kindly chant Haribol, Haribol. In great happiness, the thousand-faced Ananta Sesha chants Hari, Hari. By the influence of the transcendental vibration of the holy name, the whole universe becomes ecstatically maddened and everyone tastes the mellows of the holy name. Thakura Bhakti Vinoda, the humble servant of the Lord, says, the holy name of Krishna has fulfilled all my desires by vibrating on everyone's tongue. Bhaktivinoda therefore prays at the feet of Sri Rupa Goswami that the chanting of Harinam may continue like this always. Narada Muni Bhajai Veena Radhika Ramana Name. Narada Muni Bhajai Veena Radhika Ramana Name. Nama Mani Udita Hai Bhakat Gita Same. Nama Mani Udita Hai Bhakat Gita Same. Narada Muni Bhajai Veena Radhika Ramana Name. Ami Adhar Barishe Ganam Shravana Yugale Giyam Bhakta Jana Sagane Nachin Puriya Panahiya Narada Muni Bhajai Veena Radhika Ramana Name Madhuripura Ashavapasi Mataya Jagat Jane Kehova Kande Kehova Nache Keho Mate Mane Mane Narada Muni Bhajai Veena राधिकारमण नामे पंचवदन नारदे दुरी प्रेमरस गण रोल कमलासन नाचिया बोले बोलो बोलो हरि बोलो नारद मुनि बजय वीणा राधिकारमण नामे सहस्रानन परम सुखे हरि हरि बोली गाया नाम प्रभावे मातिलो विश्वा नाम रस सबे पाया नारद मुनि बजै वीणा राधिकारमण नामे श्री कृष्ण नाम रसने स्फुरी पुरा लोहा मर आशा श्री रूपा पादेया चाहा भक्ति विनोद दासा नारद मुनि बजय वीणा राधिकारमण नामे राधिकारमण नामे हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for that wonderful bhajan. Very nicely sang. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So, yeah, everyone is giving very good visual claps for the song. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So, thank you. We don't have any more questions or hand raised, Prabhu. So, with your permission, we can end the call here. Dear devotees, let's pay our obeisance to Prabhuji. Vancha kalpadrupasya kripa sindhutevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you,
Ramagiridhari
Shana.
Prabhuji ki jai.
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 Hare Krishna,
Hare
Dhanvat
Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.